Once upon a time, in a fantastical kingdom where the trees touched the sky and the rivers sparkled like diamonds, there lived a princess named Snow White. Snow White was not just beautiful, she was unbelievably stunning. Her skin was as white as the first snowfall of winter, her lips as red as the ripest cherries, and her hair as black as the deepest midnight. Her beauty was so extraordinary that it could make flowers bloom in the middle of winter and bring sunshine on the cloudiest day. Her wicked stepmother, the queen, was a sorceress with powers so great she could command the winds and bend mountains to her will. Despite her immense power, she was deeply envious of Snow White's beauty. Every day, she would consult her magical mirror, which not only spoke, but also had the power to show visions of the future. She would ask, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" For years, the mirror replied, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." But one day, the mirror, with a hint of reluctance, said, "Queen, you are fair, 'tis true, but Snow White is fairer than you." Enraged, the queen's eyes flashed with lightning, and she summoned her huntsman, a giant of a man who could wrestle bears and uproot trees with his bare hands. She ordered him to take Snow White into the enchanted forest and end her life, bringing back her heart as proof. The huntsman, despite his formidable strength, had a heart of gold and could not bring himself to harm Snow White. Instead, he released her into the forest and brought the queen the heart of a wild boar. Snow White wandered through the magical forest, which was filled with talking animals, singing flowers, and trees that could walk. She eventually found a peculiar cottage that seemed to be made of gingerbread and candy. Exhausted, she entered and found 7 tiny beds. Snow White lay down across all 7 and fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. The cottage belonged to 7 dwarfs, each with unique abilities. Doc could heal any ailment with a touch, Grumpy had the strength of 10 men, Happy could make anyone cheerful just by being near, Sleepy could summon dreams and control sleep, Bashful could turn invisible at will, Sneezy had a sneeze that could blow down buildings, and Dopey could speak to animals. When they returned home that evening, they found Snow White and were immediately taken by her beauty and grace. She told them her story, and the dwarfs, enchanted by her kindness and charm, invited her to stay. In return, she helped them with their chores and brought a new level of joy and harmony to their lives. Meanwhile, the queen learned from her mirror that Snow White was still alive. Furious, she concocted a potion that could disguise her as an old peddler woman and infused it with dark magic that could put an entire village to sleep. She traveled to the dwarf's cottage and offered Snow White a poisoned apple that shone with an otherworldly glow.